Call to order the regular session of Gladstone City Commission. First order of business will be the invocation said by Commissioner Mackey, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. All rise, please.
Let's bow our heads to pray. Ask God to send His Holy Spirit to look over our meeting tonight, guide us in making decisions, help us to understand each other, help us to use God's wisdom to make good decisions on behalf of our community and of our neighbors. We've got some of our neighbors with us tonight. And these things we ask through Jesus Christ, your Son. Amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next time will be the roll call, please. Here?
Here.
Commissioner Mattinen
He is excused. Thank you.
and Commissioner Olson,
Here.
Commissioner Gay.
Here.
All right. Before we move on to the public comment, looks like we need to add an agenda item. Be item number E under new business, the introduction to budget and set public hearing. I'd entertain a motion.
So moved.
Support.
Here we go again. We have a motion and supported by Commissioner Olson. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. All right, we have number E, or letter E. All right, next item on the agenda will be under public comment. We're going to go with the Community Foundation for Delta County, the check presentation from Dr. Mary Creedon's endowment. This podium's still there if we can. I know we're kind of set up for the voting for tomorrow, but that's all right.
Sorry.
Nothing we can do.
I'm Gary LaPlante. I'm Executive Director of the Community Foundation. Thank you. It's nice for us to be here this evening. I simply want to introduce a person who really needs no introduction. She's our board chair, and she's going to make the presentation on behalf of the Community Foundation. So I'd like to introduce Alice Butch, our board chair.
Hi, Ms. Butch.
Do I need to be over there?
If you could, just, I think for the camera's sake, and then and the microphone as well.
Well, it's with great pleasure that we are able to present to the city this check for $162,841 from the Mary Creedon's Fund. And so we're very pleased. Both Gary and I are residents of Gladstone, so it's especially good for us to have a chance to do this. Thank you.
We'll have Ms. Falcon come up there if you don't mind. We can grab that check so it doesn't get away.
That's right. We're going to take it back anyway.
Mayor Hunter, can you and the city manager and Alice get a picture?
Sure, I just didn't want to break the camera.
Oh, come on. We need a rose between thorns, right?
I couldn't go that far. Unless they know it's short. Oh, there's the rose. There you go.
Did you think she meant you?
Oh.
There, that's good. 1, 2, 3.
Take one more, just to...
Darla, can you take your heels off?
Okay, ready? Here we go. Terrific.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is the real one here?
Yes.
We're taking this one home.
Here you go. Thanks again. Thank you, Mr. LaPlante.
Thank you.
Thank you for taking it so early on.
Thank you.
Take care.
That's nice, especially with the way the economy is going. It's nice to be able to get a check from the endowment fund.
Amen.
All right, next item will be still under public comment. We're going to go with the Escanaba Township Building Design and Fire Truck.
Yeah, tonight we have Steve Belangi with us, been very instrumental in
connecting the city and the township together, and then Jack Tenagor is with them also, with the township. And this is just really for information. Steve's here to answer any questions. I gave you, copies in your packet here of the proposed layout of the site, and then we have the fire truck here on the board if you had any questions or. Please do that.
Oh, that's good.
Things are going according as planned, right, Steve?
Yes. I guess I'd want to comment that Paul has been a, close-knit decision process we've used, so we've worked with him. He pretty much can tell you anything about that truck that I can. And the building is moving along. It went out for bids on Friday. There seems to be a lot of activity, and it's just to Delta County contractors.
Okay,
And the fire truck was bought from a company in Michigan.
good.
So it's a small company. It's called CSI. Actually, Ensign just bought a truck from them before us, and the workmanship and that. We actually had a kind of a joint meeting when they brought a sample truck similar to that truck, and Paul can tell you too that the workmanship in it was second to none. So. It has a hydraulic drop tank. I didn't know they even had such a thing.
Oh yeah,
I guess
that's a back saver.
Yeah, so maybe it'll save an OIR, eh?
Yeah. I know it's under public comment, but the commission has any questions?
Have you taken possession of the truck already?
No, but it's actually a
You
contract.
don't have a place to store it yet, right?
It takes 6 to 8 months to get a fire truck.
Yeah.
So it should kind of time out to get here where we can do some challenging of ISO ratings maybe by late fall, I hope, or
Okay.
there's still a lot to do on that end of the thing, We did have one joint meeting on automatic aid. I think that, that's not going to be a big issue, right, Paul? No.
Came over here, so everybody,
that's fine. Yeah.
No, we've had one meeting regarding the automatic aid agreement that the city and the township are looking towards drafting and coming up with, and we're still working on that. We're planning on having another meeting here in the near future to discuss it more. I was going to say, as far as the truck, the sample truck that we saw from the company that they brought up, it was very impressive as far as the workmanship and the detail and the quality that this company is putting into their trucks, and they're becoming more popular throughout the state. And I just wanted to add that it's been a pleasure working with the township and the fire department. I think we're moving in the right direction, and it's a great project that I think both our communities are going to benefit from.
Good, thank you. Where is the company located at?
Grayling.
Oh, it's in Grayling?
Yeah, and
Really?
all the warranty work and any work on that truck's going to be able to be done at Lambert's.
Oh,
They're actually going to sign a service contract with Lambert's for any CSI trucks. Lambert's is going to come, the warranty place. Like right now, if you have a Pierce truck, it goes to Wyawega,
yeah.
Wisconsin,
Yeah.
which is a long drive.
Uh-huh.
And this way here, if it can just get fixed in Gladstone, it'll be a lot easier thing. I guess I'd like to comment that for everybody, you don't realize that the Gladstone Fire Department and the Escanaba Township Fire Department work really good together at 2 o'clock in the morning. It's jumping through all these hoops. That's the
Yeah.
hard thing to do.
Well, that's government red tape for you.
I got called to a meeting, and before we left that meeting that day, we had an agreement, which really surprised me because back in the day, that would not have happened between the two units. So
No.
we've come a long way, and thanks to you guys and to Paul.
And
This is the company in Grayling. That's the one you mentioned at our last meeting, right?
I think so. They obviously went out to bids for different manufacturers, and this company was very impressive. And the gentleman that came up and showed the truck, I can't remember his name.
Scott Patchen, his name is.
Yeah, he really did a good presentation on the truck, and showcased the time and effort that they put in manufacturing it.
But the pump house, you know, on the truck, everything in there is stainless steel.
Really?
All the pipes and so, and they're a lot easier to work with on making it like we want it, you know, how we want it to function and that. The truck is gonna have all the same equipment your truck 64 has and our Escanaba Township 1 has. So for ISO, that truck will be no different than our two primary. I mean, it is a primary truck, but it's got 3,000 gallons of water on it. But I mean, it has AD, thermal camera. It has everything that.
So you're gonna use it as a pumper? I mean, tender initially, then set up and initial
You know,
attack
it-
with
It
that
can
truck?
be used as both. I mean, it is pretty, it's amazingly a seamless truck. You can use it for either or on any given scene, which is one of the nice things about it. It's got a 1,250 gallon per minute pump. But they're going to have 600 feet, 400 to 600 feet of large diameter hose,
Oh.
which is important
Yeah.
for the city aspect with the hydrants. And then you have the water tendering capability of the 3,000 gallon tank.
What I like about it, by the looks of it, is you're right. It's a pumper tender combination, which I call it a hybrid, because our tender, Wells Township tender, I mean, we have an attack line on there, but we don't really have the storage capacity or the capability of carrying a lot of the tools or the
This truck
essential
will have
equipment.
400 feet of LDH. It'll have 800 feet at 2.5 and 400 feet of 1 3/4.
No, it's
It'll
yeah.
have live foam. It has a deck gun on it. It has pretty much.
Plus, it'll have an assortment of ladders
Yeah.
that's built around the tank or built
Especially
in.
with a 3,000 gallon tank, right?
Yeah.
That's
Yep.
that's
And it
pretty
has a
impressive.
3,000 gallon drop tank
Yeah, that's impressive.
and a front suction.
Yeah, that's really impressive.
Yeah, so I mean, it's going to be probably the most practical fire truck in Delta County. I'm not saying it's the fanciest. How would I say that? You know, it's the most.
It might not look like the most high-tech truck, I guess, with the big 8-person cabs and different things
Yeah.
like that. But as far as getting the job done,
Right.
that's
Practical purpose is
yeah,
more important than
very
the
much so.
capacity for personnel.
And the
It's
goal
got
is,
an all poly body.
and the goal is that both departments will know how to operate that truck.
Oh yeah.
Correct. Yep.
I think basically all the public safety officers right now in Gladstone wouldn't have, you know, in an hour they would have it figured out, and I just don't think that's going to be a big issue to you.
No.
It's more at driving. It's a big truck.
Yeah.
You know, it's going to be a big truck.
Yeah, it's probably a good 20 to 30,000 pounds more than our primary truck that we have right now, and that's because of the water
Water.
capacity.
Yeah, it's going to have 24,000 pounds of water in it.
Yeah,
So,
that's a
but the live foam is something the city don't have right now. You know.
Right.
and that's a huge feature. I mean, you start using foam, you can really snuff a fire quickly.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it has a storage of 40 gallons of Class A, you know, or whatever we want to put in it, a foam, you know. So, I mean, I think that truck by itself going to a place will do a lot of damage until the Mountie shows up, you know what I mean? And
Yeah, good.
you could set a 500 gallon a minute pace, you know, for 6 minutes. So, you know, really in the city, you very seldom pump 500 gallons a minute right off the bat, right?
Unless you're on Ludington Street.
Yeah. So,
Good.
we just wanted to keep you up to date. The building color will be, our township ladies are saying it's gonna be 2 tones of gray, a real light gray and a dark gray, I guess. And they picked out the stone and that for the front.
I like when you said the township ladies. Smart man.
Well, they've been working in cahoots with this lady.
It took me about 22 years to figure out, let them do that type of work.
Slow learner?
I'm a very slow learner.
Well, and at some point too, I'll be coming back to the commission and with Manager Falcon to present what we come up with in terms of an automatic aid agreement that we've been working towards. It's taking a little bit longer to get the language that I've been looking for from sample agreements. So,
It's going on right now. It's just the fact of for ISO inspectors to come and say, oh, this is automatic,
Right.
But I think on structure fires both ways, and we have some boundaries. We haven't worked this all out yet, but I mean, how far into the township that the city would go automatically. We have that. We haven't ironed that all out yet. Paul and I have, but other people haven't. So that's all we got.
Good. Good.
The building, it's gonna look very nice, I think. And I've been in contact with, the Bessies on, because we have to satisfy their, they gave an enormous amount of money towards
Oh,
this.
sure. Yeah.
So I've been in contact with them, so.
Good. Good.
They had gave us an additional $30,000 to make it look nice, so the parking lot won't be all blacktopped and lighted flagpole, and so it should look really nice
Oh,
there.
yeah. It will look nice.
Huh?
That will look nice.
Yeah,
Good.
Groundbreaking in the spring, right?
yeah, as soon as we can in the spring. And Eric Buckman, I might add, has been very, very, very helpful, and we will still need his help on flows and things like that, so. The city of Escanaba is a 4, we gotta see if we can get down to that,
That would be nice. That would be nice.
Yeah.
That'd be
you know,
nice.
and as Steve has pointed out, that he's been crediting Steve or Eric, I mean, and me, in our involvement in this. This project wouldn't have happened really without Steve. He was the person who came up with this whole project and idea from the get-go and presented it to me way back in April of 2011, maybe it was, or 2000. It was at a training session. He brought it to me as a pipe dream, so to speak, of wouldn't this be something that would benefit both communities. So, giving credit to Steve is really important, but also the whole Escanaba Township Fire Department and their board too. So it's been a great project. I think that we're just seeing come into the shovel in the ground sort of stage, and we're looking forward to it.
Well, initially, what we had thought about, and Dave Vanderlinden has been, involved in it heavily. We were thinking about putting our truck in the city garage, down at your public safety building. Where we ran into a problem there is 5 miles.
Yeah.
And still a lot of Lake Bluff would have not been 5 miles
Right.
from the truck, so.
And
Well, this makes more sense.
Yeah.
I'm just glad we were able to accommodate for the acreage up
I
there.
envision that as it goes along, officers, when there would be a fire call, could very easily take that truck, depending on where they are on the street or on the road at a given time,
And all those things, we're trying to come up with the mutual or automatic aid agreement. One thing that I'll talk about more at one point is a lot of times the communities will agree to have the automatic aid between the two entities, Escanaba Township and the city. But a lot of times the actual details are worked out between the two fire departments of, how we're gonna, the boundaries and which apparatus is gonna respond depending on where. So those are the things that we still need to meet and talk about and figure out. And I think those things will evolve over time as we get better at it, and as we start doing it.
Well, like say, you got as much expertise in this as anybody. You wouldn't
I wouldn't
want
go
the
that
city
far.
commission in Gladstone or the Escanaba Township board figuring out fire tactics, right? You would want Paul Geyer and our fire chief figuring out the fire tactics.
You're exactly right.
Right.
Yep.
And
But I
I
think-
have a hard time getting that across to people.
Well, a lot of times it's people want to make decisions. They're in a authority type setting, and they feel like their words want to be heard and spoken. Trust
Yeah.
me, I know, because there's a lot of times I say things that really doesn't make a lot of sense when they're doing city business, but you're right. The tactical aspect of it should be done by you folks.
I mean, the building, the truck, that's something that we needed the support of you guys and our township board. But on the flip side of it, I sure hope that we can settle down into Paul and our fire chief working out what's tactically makes sense, you know. Because when you were talking about what we're gonna do with the truck, I kind of freaked out one of our board members the other night because I said, we haven't really decided what's the best way to use the truck, you know? And they don't understand that we have to work that out.
Right.
What are we gonna do? Are we gonna use it as a tanker? Are we gonna use it as a pumper? When are we gonna, you know? And that'll have to be worked out.
Situation dependent and everything
Yeah.
else, so.
Just as a scenario, if our car and the officer on duty is up on the hill somewhere and there's a fire, whether it be in the city or in the township, it would make sense to me to go grab that truck.
That's, certainly, I mean, that's something that we will talk about and do.
And as far as how far they're gonna go into the township, that's for you to decide how far you're gonna let your guy go.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, you know, each entity has to maintain the fire support and response for their community primarily. And all mutual aid agreements and all even automatic aid agreements have that provision that states that if we're not able, you know, whether we have both of our apparatus tied up on something or all of our personnel tied up on something, then it somewhat becomes to each their own. I mean, they try to solve the problems, but
Not only that, also the law enforcement aspect. If our officer is
Yep.
tied up at a fire, then you're gonna be yelling at the sheriff or the state, hey, we don't have an officer on right now, right?
And that-
Exactly, and all,
That's all things that he and our
Absolutely.
chief will work out.
Yep.
yeah,
For the best of everybody, you know.
within the you know, the overall authority of each board and commission, you know, the Escanaba Township board and the city commission, so.
Oh, well, that's
Last time
incident
the
commander on scene, you know, if something were to happen that way, you get to break people free.
Yep.
I mean, it's rare that you have a dual incident like that, but it,
No, but it does.
It happens. We've seen
Occasionally it will happen.
Oh, yeah.
Well, the
Yep.
last time we would have used the city, you know, at a fire in Escanaba Township, they were there before us. So, I mean, it's going on all the time anyway,
Yeah.
you know.
yeah,
A state trooper got there first, took a look at, holy crap, they're definitely gonna need help. So he called and probably within a couple minutes, you know, and the Gladstone truck got there, used up their water as soon as we got there, which was almost simultaneously when they ran out of water. I mean, we started pumping water to their truck because all their hoses are down the ground. So I said it goes on all the time anyways.
Yep.
And that was taking the truck from here.
Yeah,
So if your officer's up there and he can grab a truck there and you're, you know, a little bit into the township,
well,
you're
it's
even gonna get there a lot quicker.
It's gonna make us all better firefighters too, because we're going to work in more training together, obviously, because that'll be needed, and I think the mayor might agree with me that city firefighters a lot of times aren't the greatest at water conservation. Township firefighters who have to rely on tanks of water and not a hydrant in the ground are very good at water conservation and being able to utilize it properly. So, I mean,
we just open the hydrant, it's coming.
yeah.
So we don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, so we all worry about those things, and by training together and by having this relationship that's gonna be, you know, enhanced, we'll all get better at that, I think, so.
Good.
But
Very
I think
good.
until people have foam, they don't really, you know, foam makes water go 6 times or 7 times farther.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you for the update. All right, we're still on public comment. This will be a time for anybody in the audience that'd like to address the commission. You may do so. Just please step up to the podium, state your name, and you can address the commission. No? I see you're nudging them. Yeah. I see Delta Force on you. Are you folks from Delta Force, or are you? Good. Good. Hopefully this won't be too boring for you. I know. All right, next item will be the consent agenda. We're looking at the City Commission regular meeting minutes of February 11, 2013, and the City Commission budget workshop of February 12 and 13 of 2013.
I'd move to approve the consent agenda.
Support.
Okay, motion is supported by Commissioner Mackey. Is any further discussion? Hearing none, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. Excuse me just for a second. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks.
Just waiting for the tie at the end. I'm not trying to watch for you.
All right, we'll move on now to the public hearings. We have none. Unfinished business, none. So we're going to move right on to new business. Okay, new business looks like we're setting the budget workshop for March 6, 2013, from 4 to 6 p.m.
Right. At the end of our last workshop, we still want to go back and look at the general fund again with some more options there, which my staff and I are preparing, talking about regularly. So if we could set another workshop, March 6th from 4 to 6, general fund discussion only.
Okay. Is Commission okay with that?
So move.
Support.
Okay, the motion is supported by Commissioner Gay. Is there further discussion? Hearing none, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The motion's carried. All right, next item will be the discharge of restrictive covenants in Lake Bluff Estate Number 15. We also have a,
Yeah, we had more information sent to you regarding this item. A little bit of background, at the regular meeting, February 11th, the city has an agreement with Joel Pouliot to build homes on some lots up there and sell them when he finds a buyer. So February 11th, the commission agenda item was for sale of lot 470 and 471. February 11th, the commission approved the sale of lot 471 with the home, but due to our building department not being able to issue a building permit for a garage only on lot 470, the commission denied that portion. So the restrictive covenants are attached, and under B1, it states, all lots will be used for single-family dwellings only. So that's when my building department wouldn't be able to issue the building permit for a garage only. And then another section in the restrictive covenants under letter E, if 75% of the property owners file a written document ending the covenants, they can be discharged. So in your packet, there are 10 signatures from property owners of those lots. There's 13 lots total. 10 owners would be 9.75%. We have 10, so we have 75% of the property owners signing, agreeing to discharge the covenants. Why the restrictive covenants came into place? A few homes were built up there, single family, nice looking homes, and then one lot that wasn't part of this agreement, a double wide home was put in there, and at the time Joel came back to the city, previous manager, and discussed if we put some restrictive covenants on these lots, to only allow single family homes, the atmosphere of that area with the golf course right behind it, that would be maintained. So I don't know what the date these were put into place, but May of 2004, the restrictive covenants went into place. So all property owners, in that subdivision received copies of them. Check my notes here and see if. So I guess tonight before you is the sale of lot 470 only, the portion that was denied at the February 11th commission meeting. Looks like the owner is here tonight. If you want to put any, if you are in favor of this and approve, to abandon these, the sale would be the next agenda item, so.
I move to discharge restrictive covenants, and for a reason being that the people who live there can live with it. If they can live with it, I can certainly live with it.
Is this gonna require two motions, one for the sale and one?
Correct. This is just
Okay.
discharging the restrictive covenants isn't.
I'll
front of you
support
right now.
that. I'll support that motion.
We have a motion to support. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried on that.
Okay. We'll go, these do need to be filed at the Register of Deeds, and we'll go through with that from the city's point.
Now, I guess I should have asked before Commissioner Mackey made that motion, but what I'm seeing here then is that since you have 75%, then all covenants from here on out are removed, or strictly just for the garage on that lot?
This,
There's no more.
well, there's no more lots
Any-
left,
But if anybody else comes in and buys, or they buy, somebody sells a house, is there anything in the covenant that would forbid them from doing something else where they're gonna need signatures for the covenant to be removed?
no, this
Or to
is
just
removing the
discharge everything?
covenants from Lake
From all of
Bluff
them, right?
Estate subdivision number 50.
Okay, that's the way I was reading it, but I wanted to make sure. Okay. Thank you.
Now I move we sell lots 470.
Support. Wow. I didn't get a chance to even say anything. You're taking.
I wasn't going to give you a chance.
Okay, we're moving on to sale of lot 470. We have a motion on the table supported by Commissioner Olson. Is there any further discussion?
Can I add something?
Yes, you may.
You know, along with selling a lot, you know, you need the mayor and clerk's signature to sign the deed. We talked about this at the last meeting too. If we could add, you know, he would have to follow the sale of land policy put on by the city, meaning building the garage within 18 months. But also, if you are in favor of this, we talked about matching, you know, please don't build a pole barn kind of thing. If you, workmanship, material, color, and scheme would match the existing home, that would assure, you know, it would match the whole neighborhood.
Sure, go ahead. Now you go to the podium.
All right, I don't know how this works, so I'm.
And you are?
Jeremy Crawley. I'm wanting to buy this property, and it's really just to. It's going to look just like the house. It's not going to be any different. The rock's going to be the same. Everything's going to be the same. I mean, it's not going to be a pole shed or any of that. It's just going to look the same.
You just have a lot of toys, right?
I do. Yeah. So that's really what I wanted to say. You have nothing to worry about there.
Thank you. So we have a motion on the table. It's already been supported. I guess just for the record, since I get a chance to even say anything, I didn't realize that Jeremy, or Ms. Prale, Mr. Prale was the owner. I know him personally, so, which was nice of the fact that I didn't get a chance to even say that, so the commission already made a determination before that was even out there. So just put that on the record as well.
Not biased.
Pardon me?
Not biased.
Correct. So, we have a motion and supported. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Welcome.
Thank you.
All right, where are we at here now? We're looking at the payment of the bills. Next item, payment of the bills.
We have bills tonight before us in the amount of $20,146.55. Just a couple were added to the original packet that you received. I think the last three on the bottom there. Bank of New York, our sludge storage payment, we have to make that one. We send out utility bills every month. InfoSend is the company that prepares them or prints them for us. And then MEUW, that's our safety program. That's the quarter covering December, January, and February. Some treatment chemicals, supplies for our water department. Pretty standard bills.
I saw our safety man out one day with Joe Quinn trying to open up a storm drain, so he gets out in the field.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Good. So any questions, comments? No?
Move we pay the bills as presented.
Support.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Olson, supported by Commissioner Mackey. Is there any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion's carried. All right, excuse me here, we got this one. All right, here's a new agenda item. Letter E, the introduction, the budget and set public hearing.
So we had a couple workshops, February 12th and 13th. They were open to the public. However, I think one person per night attended. This is nothing new to the commission. This is the same budget that I presented February 12th and 13th. Just, listing in total each fund, the balance. And we're looking at 11.6 million total budget with all of our funds. I also attached the capital outlay list. This was mentioned in our article today in the newspaper that for an $11.6 million budget, and we're only spending $689,000 in capital projects. But we can only do what we can do.
Yeah.
So at least we're doing something. Something is better than nothing. And then the check that we received tonight, $162,000 from Dr. Mary Cretins. We're planning to spend $135,425 of that, and the list is attached here.
Which is restricted.
Well, just for the audience information, I wanted to clarify. So this Dr. Mary Cretins left. She had an endowment when she passed away, in the city and other entities received the interest on that money. So 2 years ago, when the market tanked, we didn't receive any money. So now the market has recovered a little bit. We're starting to receive money again, but all the money that we receive is basically earmarked per department. So much for cemetery, so much for parks and recreation, maintaining the fishing pier, 4th of July. So it's not just a blank check to be spent wherever we want to. We do have to stay within the guidelines of her endowment. So, but it definitely does help us offset, projects in parks and recreation and the cemetery and these various different areas. So very much appreciated. Don't know what we would do without it.
No, I was going to say, a lot of these projects where we're showing here for potential, we have, to be quite honest with you, I don't know if we would, $57,425 for these various projects.
Yep.
On establishing and maintaining playgrounds. I don't know where we'd come up with that to be able to do that if it wasn't for the endowment fund. So that's greatly appreciated.
Dr. Mary is a product of the same neighborhood I was raised in and still live in. She was a lifelong friend of my mother's. She amassed an awful lot, and she was very kind to her community.
Hopefully she's looking down and making sure that we're
I'm
doing
sure
things
she
right.
is. I was thinking that when I made that comment. I'll bet you she is looking at us right now.
So, it's good.
Going,
Just wanted
spend it frugally.
Mentioned too that earlier today, Commissioner Mackey and Commissioner Olson and I had a meeting with Representative McBroom and explained to him,
MERS.
our challenge with our MERS defined benefit pension. That was also mentioned in the news article. That was one of our largest increases this year in the general fund. He's definitely, I think, willing to do some research for us, and
He sounded like it was all new to him, and
Oh,
him
yeah,
and his
absolutely.
staff are going to have to get their arms
Correct.
around it.
Yep, so it's going to take time, but at
Wha-
least he's willing to.
He walked into the meeting and told everybody he heard about you presenting the budget tonight. That was going to be our big item, so he walked in with some knowledge.
So if we do need to set a public hearing for the part of the Budget Act. So our next regular meeting is March 11th, and then we still have the March 25th meeting. You can adopt it either night, depending on comments or whatever.
Okay. Very good. Anything else?
If you can set the public hearing for March 11th, that would be great.
I'd move we set the public hearing for the budget for March 11th.
Second.
Okay, a motion by Commissioner Gay, seconded by Commissioner Olson. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The motion's carried. All right, next item on the agenda will be City Manager's Report.
Do you want to do Michigan Tax Tribunal or?
I thought we were going to do all the stuff
The new
along
F.
and go into executive
Oh,
session.
geez, I'm sorry.
Executive session.
That's my mistake. I went right over top of it. There we go. That's why I didn't see it. Had it covered. How long do you think this will take? I'd like to give the benefit of the people who are
Sure.
still here if we can.
Yeah. Move on and then come back to it?
Yeah, I
Sure.
think so. Commission, do we have any issue if we move on to the city manager's report and
No.
so we, in case this takes a little bit longer than, just for the benefit of the crowd that's here, well, participants. All right, we move on to the city manager's report then.
I just have a few things in your packet tonight. We included a letter from St. Vincent de Paul. Definitely very worthwhile bringing it to everybody's attention. The Sunday before Christmas, our volunteer fire department drove through the streets of the city and passed out candy canes, and also at the same time collected non-perishable food items and donated all of that to St. Vincent de Paul. They collected 671 pounds of food.
That's a lot.
So St. Vincent de Paul is just thanking the city and the Gladstone Volunteer Fire Department specifically. Definitely a community need to keep those pantry shelves stocked for people in need. So I wanted to point that out. We're preparing for the March 6th budget workshop. This Thursday, I will be attending the February Delta Force Day, which is Government Day.
Oh.
There's a panel I've participated in the past, and they've invited me to come back, so.
That's a
You
good
are
sign.
Appreciate that.
graduate of Delta Force way
Graduate
back
of
when I
Delta
was
Force,
still working here.
yep.
yeah.
So, very good program. I offer my help wherever I can. I think that's a very good program.
Good.
Teaches you a lot about the community. March 6th, earlier in the day, we're going to have our first kind of major planning for 4th of July. Our 4th of July activities this year. We're going to have a 2-day event, July 3rd and 4th, before Escanaba kicks off their week-long activities celebrating their 150th anniversary. So just wanted to pass to the commission if you have any suggestions, comments. If you can shoot me an email before March 6th, we can include it in that meeting, and we'll let you know the results, theme and grand marshal and all that stuff.
Start on Friday with their celebration
Friday
of their
night,
150th?
a parade.
So you should have a full week there.
They'll have a full week, yeah.
The following week, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there a way we can set aside the dunk tank and have the commissioners each sit in there for 30 minutes?
No.
And raise money to help offset the general fund costs?
That's a Gladstone Kiwanis.
I already sit in it anyway.
Sponsored activity at the 4th of July.
Yeah. It's fun. I enjoy it. It's
It's a blast.
heckling.
I used to sit in it, and it's a blast when they let all those little kids dunk you. You get out and get on your seat, you're back in again. You get out and you're on your seat, you're back in again.
Boy, what a shame. I'll be in Louisiana that weekend.
Oh,
Darn it.
Well, so much for that thought.
If it's a hot day, it is kind of refreshing.
that's all I have.
Very good. Thank you. All right, we're going to move on to City Commission committee reports. Commissioner Mackey, anything from the committees?
I've attended several DDA meetings. As I've told you guys, I'm trying to get them to take their yearly budget authority. They have a fairly decent budget, although they're using $200,000 out of their fund balance in the budget that we're going to see. And they also have the ability to bond. I would like to see them do something that would be good for the downtown business district. They've started to have a lot of conversations. The city manager and her staff are involved in that as well, so I'll probably keep attending those. I think they're going to do something, because as we all know, we need to reverse the fortunes of the downtown businesses, because right now, it's not, you just can't make a living downtown very easy. And I think if they were to do something in the area of marketing and doing something that was attractive in the way of a possible construction project, to bring some things like maybe farmers market down and some various marketing ideas they've kicked around, that it would be a whole lot better place to try and run a business. So I keep encouraging them to try and do that.
I still think the north exit corridor for Gladstone, attracting the people coming from the
On 9th
east.
Street?
Yeah.
Well, actually, that's interesting. We can segue into that then, I guess. It's always surprised me that the 9th Street corridor still has homes on it. You would think that the natural forces of the market would buy that property up and redevelop it into commercial businesses, because the problem we have with Delta Avenue no longer is on the highway. It used to be when the highway went through on 9th Street, and now it's physically removed from the highway, and any business wants to be close to where there's traffic. The 9th Street corridor is very close to there.
Right.
But it hasn't happened. I don't know why.
I still like to see if we can keep pushing MDOT for a left turn lane at the light there. I think would help alleviate some of that, I don't want to say blow by, but that's kind of what it is,
It
really.
has been described that way, that when you come over the railroad bridge on the 4-lane highway, you notice there's a town down there, and unless there's something to say, hey, come on, turn in off of 9th Street, but you blink an eye and you're on the South Gladstone, you're headed to Escanaba.
Right. I think we're missing out a little bit. I think that's something that really needs to be explored, that whole area. So,
I also attended the open house for the Sports Park Master Plan that we've commissioned. Commissioner Gay and I have talked many times about that project. It's very much in its infancy stages right now. They basically were just doing an inventory of what is there, and they were asking everybody who attended to throw ideas at them that they could throw together in the design phase. I reminded everybody that some of the things that they're talking about, I don't want to throw cold water on, but they have been tried before, and you know, you don't want to make the same mistake twice. And that the other thing is that if we are going to invest in that facility, that it's got to come back to us. It's really, it does have to be an investment. It can't be picking up more expenses, because we don't have the budget ability to pick up more expenses in the Parks and Recreation area. And that I still believe that getting the private sector involved with investment there would be a great idea, because that is one of the superior locations in the city view-wise. So I attended that meeting as well.
good. Thank you. Anything? Okay, we're going to move on to, it kind of covers the boards and commission reports. Let's move on to public comment. Again, this is a time for anybody in the public that'd like to stand up, address the commission. May do so? No? All right, commissioner comments? Commissioner Gay?
I don't really have anything. With the exception, remind everyone to vote tomorrow. And that's really about it.
What time? 7? 7 they open?
I should have asked that question because I was searching and I couldn't come up with the time, so.
Very good, thank you. Commissioner Olson?
In attending the sports park presentation, I was only available to go to the first part of it, not the second. Did you notice that, I guess, any residential thoughts there? I didn't see any, and I asked about.
No, but I think it's probably too soon for that.
Okay.
That has always been my goal since I've gotten on the commission, and I always felt that way back when I worked here that was a way underutilized site.
It can only be on the
That-
bluff edge, though. It can only be on the bluff edge, though.
Right, right.
Yeah.
And so I again pushed both staff and especially the professional planners they've hired to consider that as an element in their future planning, so I think it's too soon for that.
Okay.
But I'll keep bringing it up even if someone says I'm nagging them, because
Okay.
I think that there should be some private sector involvement there as well,
that-
because it's a superior site.
Because I brought it up with Mr. Coleman, and it was kind of like it had just floated by, and he hadn't really addressed
That's why you
it.
need to be persistent, because he tried to do it with me too.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
maybe also they're looking at, I know we are looking at parks and recreation development up in that area, and it may not have been, I don't want to say addressed purposely, I don't mean that, but
Yeah.
we're looking at different avenues of trying
Priorities.
to make it more of a, with the sports park, the ball fields, other options that we can use the ski hill year-round for. So that may be something that just wasn't in their thought process at that point. So bringing
Sure.
it up probably is a good thing.
Yep, just keep doing it. I guess I want to compliment the staff on the budget, and the budget meetings, and I guess the staff is really, I'll just use the word mature, because they seem to know what they can spend and what they can't spend, and they're not begging the commissioners to spend or begging for money. And it seems very mature staff from that perspective. Snow this last weekend. I have to compliment Department of Public Works. They left us windrows of snow over the weekend, so no overtime was spent. And so they're saving money, but they were at it this morning at 8 o'clock, so picking up the snow, which I thought was good. And I'm thinking this is more than rumor based on my source, but sounds like somebody is buying the dewdrop in, which was goodness.
Yep.
Good. That is good news.
Yeah. But that was it.
Yeah, very good. Thank you. I don't have anything except Commissioner Gay already touched on it. Go ahead.
Two items that citizens stopped me on the street. They said, for our website, they said they don't, our commission email addresses aren't available, and I never surf our websites.
Yeah, there was on the old one, and somebody sent a message through the webmaster, which got funneled to me, and I saw that. I just have not had a chance to put them all on there yet, so.
That's okay. I understand you only have so much time.
But it is in my file to get that back up. It was on the old, it just didn't make the new transfer, so.
They
we'll get it on
also
there.
they also asked, could we get the garbage pickup schedule on there?
Yes, and I thought it was back on there because when they redid it, so I'll have to look. It might just be kind of in a spot that's not, real easy to find. Sometimes I'm finding that when people say I can't, it's not on there, and it's like, well, it is. But then when you go in and try and explain how to get it to it, it's like, yeah, it's buried there. But so
Okay.
then I'm trying to make those adjustments. But I'll make that note too.
Sure.
Yeah, it's buried there.
Yeah,
Well,
I
you did
thought
find it.
Because in talking, it's like, yeah, I know because I go on it sometimes too, just when they call and want to know, I'll click on it. But when you try and explain it, it's like, okay, now we're into our 5th step here that I've just explained to you. So, yeah, I'll get it moved.
I didn't go look to see if it is there, so you did.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when you find stuff like that and it's hard for us or staff to find it, yeah, I'll get it moved. So.
Sure.
Thank you. I didn't mean to skip over. I just thought you had covered all your stuff in the other portion. So
It's all right. We're still friends.
I didn't mean to skip over you. I just. Commissioner.
I still think we're amusing, but I don't.
Yeah.
Apparently don't.
Commissioner Gay kind of took my thunder as far as voting. Please sorry I broke your pen, I think. Please make sure everybody votes tomorrow. Doesn't matter. I'm not saying which way to vote, just make sure to vote, okay? Again, hats off to Barry and his crew. I think they do an outstanding job. I know we fielded some complaints, but I mean, they're doing the best they can with what they have to work with and the amount of snow that we've been getting. At least we don't have anybody posting something on YouTube when they're trying to bury cars purposely. So.
No, and Judy and I were up to Marquette this morning, and it's pathetic up there, the snow.
The amount of snow they have?
Well, it isn't much more than here, but where it is, and it's in the streets, kind of, and on the sidewalks, and no.
Interesting you use that as a comparison, because at that planning meeting at the sports park, the efforts that the city of Marquette have done, and I think they've done a great job of attracting development in that community. It was all, in the opinion of the planners, and I don't think they're probably wrong, it was all because it's a superior place to recreate. So maybe they don't do such a good job with their snow removal, but they're recreating really well.
Yeah.
And I want to apologize. There was a couple of meetings I'd like to have attended to. The Parks and Rec, the meeting with the Sports Park. With work, there's been some interesting cases coming up that have come up. It has taken a lot of my time, so I apologize. And the DDA, the workshop that morning, I had every intention of going, but there was no way I could attend. So I apologize for the commission and anybody else out there about that. I don't have anything else as far as the commissioner comments. You folks in the audience, thank you for coming. Hopefully it was worthwhile for you. A little disappointed there wasn't any hard questions for us, but that's all right.
Well, can I ask one question?
Sure, go right
On the
ahead.
Snow removal?
Yeah.
I moved back 2001, and I don't know if it's just, I don't know. We've always noticed that when snow is removed, there's certain streets that are removed to where it's pavement, and there's certain ones that are not. And I would think the important ones would be, Delta and
The major
10th
streets.
and the major ones. But like Minneapolis Street is always taken care of so well and not icy, and then there's like days go on where Minnesota or other roads are kind of crummy. Like if it's, so I just wonder.
I think the biggest problem on Minnesota and Wisconsin is they're much older streets, and
Probably.
it's really hard to get the material off down to the pavement because of the way the street's constructed. They get it down as far as they can. I think that's probably the reason.
I know in Michigan where I live and in the
But
alley.
sometimes Michigan's not as even kept up, and I'm like, Michigan comes up
Except in
high,
his
you know?
block. Have you ever
I was
noticed
just
in
gonna
his
say,
block, it's
no,
perfect?
not in my block. I think that's done. I'm just joking. I'm just
You know,
joking.
my mom mentioned that too, like, you know, Michigan's right off the highway, so you'd think that one and the certain ones would be prime comparative. But there's times where you're traveling on Michigan, you're like, wow, there's a lot of snow I'm going over, and then you turn and you go over to Minneapolis and it's clear, and it's like, wow.
Yeah, I couldn't answer
There'd be
that.
more
I guess
taxes,
Commissioner Mackey.
you know?
Well, I think Commissioner Mackey may have hit the nail on the head. I mean, he would know how long
Maybe
the
the
streets have been
roads,
put in,
yeah.
from gravel to pavement. So there's probably some areas that are sagging that
No, like,
the grader can't really.
some
I think
areas.
amount of, you know, salt and sand too, if we, you
Right, you know.
Oh,
know, we can't,
Yeah.
we have to prioritize and, you know. Plus all the miles on the bluff too, you know, we may not see plows down here, but they could be, you know,
Yeah, I
anywhere
guess
within the city,
Yeah.
so.
I can't really answer why. I don't think it has. I know it has nothing to do with the commissioners, and I don't mean that in a bad sense. I know Barry and his crew are doing what they can with what what they're able to do. So, good. Thank you. All right, we're going to move back up under new business to F. I'm all over the board. The Michigan Tax Tribunal, the Bessie Forest Products LLC. This will be Miss Esch. Where is my?
Executive session, right?
It looks, yeah, I mean, this is allowable for executive session, so I guess I would entertain a motion if we want to go into executive session and discuss this.
So move. Support.
Okay, a motion by Commissioner Olson, supported by Commissioner Gay. Can we have a roll call, please? Yes.
Commissioner Gay,
Yes.
Commissioner Mackey,
Yes.
Commissioner Mattinen is not here, and Commissioner Olson.
yes.
Okay, we'll be in executive session.